morning, a wonderful family, and welcome to the Voices of the Motherland show. I do trust that everyone is doing okay. My name is Kalmi, and this is the Voices of the Motherland show coming live to you from the Nairobi studios, of course. And of course, feel free to interact with us because today we do have a very amazing topic that we are going to talk about, and this is some of the things that do get to affect us in the society. And of course, to the amazing family, that is the amazing kings and queens in the Blackwood Fire family. Remember, on the Voices of the Motherland show, we always talk about some of the stories. Let me use the word stories that you wouldn't wish to be talking out there. And of course, the topic of the day is all about conquering disabilities. That is just to generalize it, because I have realized that this is a thing that has affected most of us. So, of course, stick by, because we do have that coming right in a few minutes from now. And remember, this is the Voices of the Motherland show. And today, we are going to take a look at some of the experiences of the people with disability, their journey, how it has been for them, maybe some of the reason as to why they became that way. And let me tell you one thing: if we human beings had a way of cloning ourselves, trust me, no one would want to come out with any disability. And that is why today on the Voices of the Motherland show, because we always focus on some of the issues that you guys wouldn't want to talk about. Perhaps you know an individual with a disability, or perhaps you know a relative or something like that, and you can maybe attest to that it has not been easy for them. There is a way that the society gets to look down upon the people with disability, and as a result, some parents have even gone ahead and hidden their children because they do not want to be, in quotes, the laughing stock of the community. Because to some parents, they get to say that maybe there were the reason as to why their kids came out with that disability. But of course, today on the Voices of the Motherland show, we would like to tackle that issue. We would like to tackle the issue with the disability, some of the solutions, how it has been for them. And remember, this is coming live to you from the Nairobi studio. And my name is Kalmi, and this is the Voices of the Motherland show. Even before we get to start with the show, remember, you can get to log in at www.blackwoodfirenetwork.com, and you can take a look at some of the episodes that you might have missed when you get to log in at Blackwood Fire Network. And still on that, you can also proceed and take a look at some of the blogs that are lined up for you on Blackwood Fire Network in terms of what we do have for you. Remember, the topic is all about dealing with the issue of disability. Perhaps you have been in public and you have seen how they are treated. I'll give you my own experience on that, because they say that once you are in the field of journalism, you get to really be keen on what is happening besides you. And remember, I was just earlier on talking about logging in at www.blackwoodfirenetwork.com, and there you can take a look at some of the episodes you might have missed. I have mentioned that one earlier on. And still, you can kindly like and share the videos to your friends. They can take a look at what we are doing, and also you can get to support the stream at Cash App, Mr. Blackwood Fire, and of course donate at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. I do believe that your Monday is coming out quite well. In Africa, it's already it's almost 6. That is why I'm just counting that the day is already counted. But today, in terms of the weather updates, I can say that things have not been that bad, apart from the morning hours when it was raining heavily. But right now, we have been experiencing a lot of sunny. It has been of course, quite sunny. My name is Kame, and this is the Voices of the Motherland show. Let me know your views regarding the issue with disability. And remember also, disability is not inability. And of course, before I get to start the show, I'd like, of course, to share with the amazing family these amazing quotes in terms, of course, of disability. And let me tell you one thing. To the congregation out there who are listening to the show, and they do have an issue with any disability, because we do have a different types of disabilities among us children, among us adults. For some, they have been able to conquer it and stayed positive. For some, they've ended up being suicidal. And that is why we're talking about this. As a parent, I know you wouldn't want to have a kid who has an issue with disability, but then again, at times, nature, gets to tame us in some way. At some time, if you have a child or any individual that is close to you who has an issue with disability, at times that is one way of nature trying to make you look at life from a different side of view. And let me just share this quote. When a flower doesn't blossom, you fix the environment in which it grows, not the flower. Let me repeat this. When a flower doesn't blossom, you fix the environment in which it grows, not the flower. For some parents, they have gone ahead and chained their kids because they do have an issue with disability. At some point, disability goes in hand with mental, in terms of a mental illness. And I'll give you one incident in Nigeria. And this is just in one of the homes that has been found, whereby a stepmother had chained the child amongst poultry for them to survive, to a point whereby this young boy, couldn't even understand human language. Because his entire life, because he was, they thought that he had an issue with disability, they wouldn't take him to hospital. And because in Swahili we say that mama wakamba si mama. Sadly enough, mama wakamba si mama. She went ahead and chained this young boy. And by the time that the human aid was coming to rescue him, he was beyond human recognition. This is one boy who was even going ahead and eating poultry products. It is sad. Of course, I do not have anything against the stepmothers, but I believe sometimes we as humans, we are not doing right towards the people with disability. David Brown, you've said good morning. Good morning to you too, David Brown, and welcome to the Voices of the Motherland. And you have gone ahead and said great quote. And perhaps, David Brown, you can tell us if you have interacted with someone with disability, or if you have seen what is done to them. And remember, my name is Kalmi, and this is the Voices of the Motherland show. And of course, we are tackling the issue with disabilities in our society. And I've given you an example all the way from Nigeria, whereby a young boy was rescued because his cruel stepmother decided to chain him amongst the poultry. No food given to him. He had to survive on the poultry meal. And that is why I keep telling you that at some point, we need to be grateful of life. But I want to say one thing, like I've said before, I do not have anything against stepmothers, but I have something against those people with that mentality whereby you believe if you're raising a child that is not yours, you get to subject them to some form of cruelty. And that is where the Voices of the Motherland show comes right to you all the way from Blackwood Fire Network, whereby we get to tackle some of these issues. For those who are watching the show, for those who are watching and listening the show, we really appreciate you. We know we do have a difference in time, but of course we go ahead and appreciate the fact that you have taken time and joined us on the show. Remember, my name is Kami, and the topic of the day is all about tackling the issue with disability in Africa. Not only Africa, because I believe that also in the diaspora, you are affected by this. Perhaps your colleague is affected by that, or perhaps you've seen your boss mistreat your colleague because they do have an issue with disability. Or let's talk about when you want to go and maybe when you are trying, to look for a job. You are in a job interview, and the first thing they look at you is you are in a wheelchair, and there's no way they're going to give you that job vacancy because they believe you're going to pull the company down. To the Blackwood Fire family, this is a topic that quite hurts. For the people with disability, if they told you what they have been going through, it will make you become quite emotional. Every day on my way home, I get to queue. In Nairobi, you get to queue for the bus. And perhaps you've heard that in Nairobi, the traffic is crazy. You have to queue for the bus. And when you're queuing, it's a queue that maybe you might be there for almost even an hour or so, depending if there is an issue with traffic, depending if there is an issue with the issue with the maybe weather patterns. If it's raining heavily, trust me, at sometimes these roads, they're not all weather roads, and you will see maybe a child or a lady in a wheelchair begging for help, begging to have that coin so that they can get to have bread at the end of the day. But also in Nairobi, there was this debate that was going around whereby the Kenyans were arguing the fact that Tanzanians had flocked to the Nairobian streets. This is all about business, whereby Tanzanians had flocked to the Nairobi streets and they get to beg, and that money they go to take it to one person. So it's all about business. So also in terms of the people with disability, you do have to be cautious. And I see at Sean Scott, a good morning to you, and you've said a good morning, Kalmi, and a salute to the melanated family out there. Thank you so much at Sean Scott for choosing the Voices of the Motherland show. And also Mr. Pirate Brain, you've said a good morning, Kami. Good morning to you too at Mr. Pirate Brain. I do believe that everyone who is tuned to the show is really doing okay. And of course, if you are not doing okay, or perhaps if the topic of the day is affecting you, trust me, we are in this together and we do understand what gets, of course, to happen. Sometimes the society doesn't really want to understand people with disability. And of course, David Brown, you said, I came on late, but I have dealt with the children and adults with a mental health disability rather than a physical disability. Thank you for those sentiments at David Brown. I really understand that it has not been quite easy, because understanding their world versus the world that you are used to, the normal world that you are used to, it's quite different. And also, getting to understand, let me use the term tantrum, but forgive me for that. At some point they do have those types of tantrums because they're trying to communicate with you. But at most places, some people have not really understood them. That's why they get even to the point of issue with the physical violence being done on the people with disability. Let me tell you one thing before I even get to, of course, tell you some types of disabilities that you do have in the society. And remember, this is the Voices of the Motherland show, coming right to you from Blackwood Fire Network Media for the 21st century. There was a time that, not even there was a time, if you are in a wheelchair, or maybe you have just a certain type of disability, and you're trying to board a matatu, we call them matatu here in Nairobi. A matatu, these are just a public means of transport. Because you're slow, because you're not as normal as other people, the conductors, most of the times, they get to leave you there. Because in Nairobi, the matatus are crazy. It's all about beating the traffic. It is all about ensuring that they get money on time. And because you have a disability, they will get to leave you. For some people, they have been rained on. For some people, they have also even lost their lives because of the way that the matatus are speeding. They do not want to give them a chance to fit in like other people. And that is why when I started the show, I had said, we as human beings, if we wanted to clone ourselves, trust me, no one would want to clone themselves with any disability. And some of these disabilities, they are caused personally. Some of them, they are hereditary. For example, if a mother is smoking, maybe smoking marijuana or doing drugs when she's pregnant during the formation of the baby, most chances are the baby will come about with with some type of deformity. If a mother is highly drinking or overindulging in any drugs, that is what gets to happen. But in some cases, there has been an issue with hereditary, in that you are not in control of your offspring, of how it will turn out. But even at some point, the parent themselves, they have gone ahead and locked these kids. They have gone ahead and deprived them to play with other kids, because they are like, the society is going to judge them. They are like all blame is going to be on them. And in return, in activities like maybe birthdays, in activity, I'm talking in terms of young kids, in activities in terms of birthdays, going out and playing with other kids, the individuals with disability, especially children, they are deprived of that. And when it is adults, maybe in terms of either family gatherings or something that is public, they are shut off. We are hurting the feelings of these people. And we get to assume it. We are assuming that, oh, they know they have the disability, so they have to adjust to it. It is not fair, because today I may not have a disability, but the next day I might be having it, maybe due to an accident or due just to nature, because things do get to happen. We've had, for example, the issue with the polio children who have turned out to have a disability because of different vaccinations. Because different bodies, in terms of antibodies, the issue with antibodies and antigens, they get to affect you. They get to react differently in different people. And that's why some people have either, turned out to have an issue with, an issue with a disability. But for most of the cases, you have realized that some of these maybe vaccinations that are given to us, they are not meant well for human consumption. And let me just continue to read the feedback before I get to continue with the show. You have said at David Brown, I came on, all right, okay, let me just get this coordinated. David Brown, I have read that one earlier on. At Mr. Pirate Brain, you said, we have the Disability Act in the USA, absolutely. All the public buses are equipped to accommodate disabled people. Wow, that is amazing. I believe you are talking about the ADA. The ADA is basically the Disability Act in the USA. That is the ADA, which ensures that all individuals with disability, they get, of course, their welfare gets to be looked into. Let me tell you one thing about Africa, and let me use Kenya, for example. In Kenya, I haven't seen buses with places where individuals with disability. You have to sort yourself, and if there is, they're very minimal. But I've seen in terms of private transport. You can't get to buy a car maybe with to support yourself. For example, when I was in campus, I did have an amazing lecture, and this amazing lady, she did have an issue with cancer, and of course, she didn't get to amputate her leg. But she was supposed to come to class. She was very bright, vibrant, in crutches. She had a very dope car because it was designed for the people with disability. But, they say that everything happens for a reason. She had cancer, but of course she didn't go ahead and amputate it. And right now she is in the parliament representing the people with disability because of her charming personality. And thank you so much for that, at Mr. Parrot Brain, because I'm just giving a comparison on how it is in Africa. And you said used to work for United Cerebral Palsy or United Cerebral Palsy, if I've gotten that correct. That is so amazing. And I can imagine how hectic it was for you getting to understand these people, getting to make them feel, to have that sense of belonging. And at Kate Newsom, Karibu Sana, you said Rumbi's internet is down, Kami. That is why she can't join you. Absolutely correct. I'm okay with that. I understand the issue with internet connectivity, especially right now due to the difference in weather patterns. Trust me, things are being affected. And of course, let's take a short break and take a look at how it is with the people, of course, the situation in the people of a disability in Africa, because for some of them, they have been and for some of them they have been made feel like they are less human. For example, maybe you are born with no limbs, no hands, and things like that. The society, even your family itself, doesn't want to care about you. They don't get to feed you. They're living you in dirty condition. They can't wash you. They can't do anything for you. But for some people, they have conquered that issue with disability, and that is why they have gone ahead and done a lot of things for themselves. Actually, there are actually some companies that have been brought about with people with disability. Also in high school, we did have our very own English, of course, our literature teacher. He was blind, but as much as he was blind, he had a school of his own. He has two buses, or rather matatus, on his own. And this is a person with disability. He was even able to access, the internet, just deal with all that. The issue with I'm trying to get the braille. Exactly, you get to understand reading with the braille, and he turned out right fine. But for some families, if you do have disability, that is the end of you. You are termed as not fit to be in the society. Let me just get to share with you this. Of course, disability is not inability. Right here on the right here, of course, on the Voices of the Motherland show, coming right to you from Blackwood Fire Network, of course, media for the 21st century. I remember, family, this is coming right from the Nairobi studios in Africa. Let me just get to share this as we get to proceed with the show. Remember, the hashtag is. Disability is not inability. Let's take a look at their journey for some of those who have come about brave, for some of those who've come about and fought this type of a stereotype, this type of the society looking down upon you. You can't walk around, you're just walking around, all eyes on you, you're feeling uncomfortable, people don't get to appreciate you the way they are, they get to blame you for your situation. Let me just share this. Okay, let me just get an English version. This is in. Let me just get an English version of this. But in terms of a disability, let me just get a better video for you. This is in this is just in Kikuyu language, but let me just get a correct video for you. And for some of these people, they have come out quite well. They have turned out quite well, and they have showed the society like, no, you don't need to look down upon me because I have this and this. You don't need to look down upon me because I can do as much as possible more than you. Let me just share the screen once more as we get to take a look at what is really happening in their lives. All right, here we go. Story.
Hi, I'm John Lokuta Ewoy, a person living with a disability, without a hand, but with this one. But still with this, I can do a lot. What we need as persons with disability is acceptance and to be given opportunity to challenge ourselves more, but not to be sympathized to.
I spent the morning with Ewoy at the National Council of Persons with Disabilities, where he currently interns. No one saw the value of educating this 24-year-old, born in Baragoi to a marginalized Turkana community, but he took a chance to strive and accomplish what many only dream of.
Just we talk also after primary. My parents actually did not know what next. They were aware I've completed school and therefore should come home. My first fees, my father contributed was just around 6,000. And that one was after being confused.
Some see disability as a limitation, but not Ewoy, who seamlessly gets things done. His handwriting is admirable, despite using his lips for support.
Personally, I've never felt the disability, by the way. So I'm just like, no, disability comes maybe when I'm in a situation where I can't do something alone. That's when I realize that I have the disability.
His lips too come to his aid when he needs to type. He has mastered the keyboard, making him a fast typer.
When you see other students maybe playing, doing some jokes around, so you feel you are not part of them. But later on, as we progressed in terms of a lot of education, you get to realize that this is just also disability is just a challenge. So that you are not a human being who cannot enjoy any other things.
Before joining the Technical University of Mombasa, he studied at Maralal High School, where he scored a B+. As a student leader at the university, he was keen on changing the lives of those with disabilities, and he's proud of the legacy he left.
Any building that they constructed, a new building, they actually captured accessibility for persons with disability.
Ewoy wants persons with disabilities to be given more active roles in developing solutions.
The first thing an employee sees in you is the disability. If I go to an interview this way, they will just say, this guy does not have the hands. How will he do this job?
Watching Ewoy send a text message and make a phone call is beyond belief. Even though he considers this as ordinary, he holds his phone with a free finger, typing out the keys with his lips. The Technical University of Mombasa has already gifted him a scholarship for his master's. When he gets a stable job, he wants to fish out his family of 8 siblings out of poverty. He also plans on going back to Baragoi, located in Samburu County, and help his minority community.
Wow, this is definitely amazing. If you are not touched by this, then I honestly do not know what will get to motivate you. Trust me, out here, people are going through a lot. Like, trust me, people are going through a lot in terms of tackling the issue with disability. And let me tell you one thing: parents have actually been playing a huge role in that. Some parents will be like, taking you to school is a waste of money. For some parents, they'll be like, they wouldn't waste the money on you. They wouldn't even want you to receive education. They wouldn't even want you to interact with other people, as if it was, of course, as if it was your fault. And it is sad that some kids have not known happiness ever since their parents realized that they had disability. For some women in the hospital, maybe the day that is after delivery of the child, and the dad comes into the hospital, or maybe the relatives, and they're now blaming the mom because of or maybe the child is born with a disability. It is not good. Some of these things have made people to end up suicidal. For example, this young man that I've shared, that I have, of course, shared the video with you, he has really went through a lot. And one thing about employers is that they get to take a look at you as an employee. What are you going to do for the company? Are you going to give it profits, or are you going to give it losses? And for some people, they're like, if you do not have hands, or if you are acting in some certain weird type of way, are you going to scare away the customers? For some blind, for example, in my school, I've given you an example in high school. I did have my literature teacher. He was blind, and trust me, you wouldn't mess in his class. Some students used to play, go out slowly because he's not seeing. Okay, at times, okay, back then I was in Form 1, so sorry for me. We used to think it was a joke. We're like, this is a literature teacher. You can go out of the class, do anything you want, and he won't notice. Of course, he did have a helper then, and he gave us some time to behave the way we wanted. And then all of a sudden, he was able to see you joke with the keys, opening your locker and playing with it. He was able to see that. And one thing he will do, he'll just come right to you. There's a way that these sticks that they use, of course, are for the blind. There's a way that they get, of course, to discharge it. He used to discharge it, put it in between your fingers, and get to squeeze you. Trust me, the feeling you get after that, you wouldn't joke in that class after. Because, these are some of the people, they know what they have been through. Instead of going out there in the street, they're trying to show the society that, yes, I am not half human. I'm still the same man as you. What you can do, I'm also capable of doing that. And of course, a round of applause to those individuals who have been dealing with the issue with disabilities, because it is not easy. Trust me, it is not easy. And to get back, of course, to the comment section, of course, Mr. Perek Brenner said that earlier on he had dealt with that. And of course, he's gone ahead and said, actually, it was the best job I had. The children were so sweet. Oh, that is so amazing. Because you can get to take a look at how innocent they are, at how they want a better future for themselves, at how they want to prove to their families that, yes, mama, yes, papa, do not regret giving birth to me. Let me tell you, this is a very touching topic, and I've seen people with disability being shunned away. And of course, I believe some of you in the family have also interacted with that. You're going maybe to a restaurant. Maybe it is on the ninth floor. You cannot be able to maybe climb those stairs, or you cannot be able, or maybe in terms of maybe you are on the lift and then you have to climb a little bit of stairs. It is hectic. For some people, they just ignore them, like, let them just deal with it. In some companies, they don't even get to take a look, or rather to come about with activities, or rather to come about with places whereby people with disabilities can get, of course, to feel comfortable at. And let me just proceed and get to inform you on some types of disabilities that we do have in our society. We do have an issue with vision impairment. It is very much common. For some people, it has happened to them maybe after an accident, a car accident, or just any other accident, maybe in terms of falling down. And then they just can't get things the same way that it's supposed to be. There's also an issue with deaf or hard hearing. You're trying to talk to a person, and then you're like, they are pretending that like they want you to shout all the time. It is not their fault. If you are deaf, you cannot overcome that. If you have an issue with hard hearing, you have maybe to use a hearing aid. That is a disability. And the society doesn't take that one lightly. People who are normal, they do not take that one lightly. That is where we keep hurting people. That is where we keep making them feel less of a people. Even in terms of their businesses, some of them have tried, to come about with even organizations, charity organizations, businesses, setting up them in the society as one way of creating awareness that they do get to exist. Also do have an issue with mental health conditions. We have been talking about mental health conditions, especially amongst the youths. And let me tell you one thing. I don't want to use any African country as an example, but of course, let me just get to use Kenya here in the 254. Mental health conditions. I keep telling myself that I wouldn't want to go to those hospitals and see how they are treated. These are the people who at times, because they know they're not mentally stable, they get to do everything on themselves in terms of one or two. Let me use the term in quotes, one or two. If you know, you know. They get to do it all on themselves. They're not even aware they're doing that. And some of them, maybe they get to scream, shout, depending on what caused to their mental, of course, condition. Some of them have witnessed brutal killings. Some of them have witnessed, the issue. Some of them have even witnessed the issue with the public not treating them correct. Some of them have seen. Some of them have seen that things, the society gets to take you a different way. And of course, people with disability, they have a tough time getting spouses or partners. That is also another thing. Because of their disability. That I have a disability and no one wants to court me. We've seen weddings that have been done with people with disability. Some of them, maybe both of the parties, they do have a disability or one has. And do you know what the society gets to say? The society gets to say that, oh, maybe the lady or the man that is who doesn't have the disability went there because of money. Do you think that the issue of enjoying your time with someone is that easy? For you to fall in love with someone with a disability, it doesn't mean that you're there for the money. At times, it's all about connection. It's all about how you get to vibe. So mental health, also the issue with you getting a spouse isn't easy. And just to continue on that, there has been also the issue with intellectual disability. You are constantly becoming the last number in your classroom. Okay, for some people, not that I'm calling that a disability, for some people it's maybe because of how they really get to play around when it's time, when the teacher is trying to teach, when the teacher is trying to do all the best to ensure that all students get to understand what is being taught to them. But for some students, they do have the issue with the intellectual disability. As a teacher, you get to beat them over and over, stressing that they are not paying attention. But you haven't really dug your information and asked yourself, does this person have a condition? If they do have a condition, what is the way forward to that? Because in most cases, they are not, some teachers are not looking into the issue with intellectual disability. Some teachers and parents. For example, you are maybe in a class And this girl, even after being beaten, even after bringing her parents to school, and the teacher saying that she should at least come from the bottom, from that bottom number, she's still there. In class hours, she's really paying her attention because she's trying to understand, she's trying to blend in like other kids. The attention she's paying, she has all the types of references, books that she can get to read. But come the time that the results are being given out, uh-oh, she's there at the bottom. That is what we call intellectual disability, because the society doesn't get to understand that this can be a disability too. You need to that is, you need you need to teach them in a way that they can get, to improve as much as slightly as they can get to improve. We also do have the acquired brain injury. It is also a disability, and in most cases you get to forget in terms of maybe your pin, your mobile pin, crucial things, because you do have a brain injury. And if you are the breadwinner for this family, and you can't even recall your maybe M-Pesa pin. M-Pesa is just one form of a mobile money transfer in the 254 here in Kenya. It is also used in Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda. You can get to use M-Pesa. If you do not know your M-Pesa pin, then your family is left with nothing but just a struggle. But of course, right now there has been cases whereby you can get maybe to send these details, maybe come with the ID of the individual suffering from that, and they can get to help you. But in most of cases, brain injury has been used for some people, for their own benefit. In that, I know that my neighbor has a brain injury, and maybe they have some asset that I've been wanting for quite a long time. I'll come, lure them, get it, and make it mine. There has been a lot of things that have been done to people with disability. Also, moving on to the other type of disability, we do have autism, the autism spectrum disorder. This is very much, of course, common, and that is why most of the time when you are taking a look, or maybe you're watching a video, they get to tell you that it is photosensitive. So if you do have an autism condition, you need not get to indulge in that. And I've had cases whereby individuals with autism, they just fall down, they bite themselves. For example, there was a time that in campus back then, and I think we were doing some examination. This young guy was just sitting. When you get to wake up in the morning, you're out in school on time. You want to secure that that's a good place for you to really do that exam. If you you really need to secure, that's a good place for you to secure that exam. I mean, to read that exam. And this young guy was in that corner. For some people, they like the corners. For some people, they love sitting next to the lecturer. For me, I used to love sitting in the middle because there's no way I just want to be interrupted. So this young guy was just there writing his short notes on a small piece of paper. All of a sudden, he's down. He's biting himself. And one thing about African culture, they believe that if you fall down and start biting yourself, they have to put something in your mouth so that you don't end up biting your lip or biting your tongue. And which is very bad. If you put something metal, this metal stuff is going to hurt them more. And this young guy fall down. You actually don't know what is happening to you. He fall down. He was biting his lips. He was bleeding. Because he's biting himself, and he can't even tell he's biting himself. He bruised his head, his hands, and I think the lecturer actually made him pass the exam, because he was just a few minutes training the exam. As much as he hadn't passed the exam, the lecturer ensured that he didn't get a supplementary on that. And this just gets to happen to people who really understand individuals with disability. It is sad because there are people just looking at you, surrounding you. They do not know what to do. Some of them, they do not want to be near you, because they're like, maybe it might end up affecting them. And just to proceed on that, another type of disability before we get to finish on that is the physical disability. I'm talking about the issue with individuals being cripples and of course things like that. And just moving on, we do have the Disabilities Act. I believe that, of course, let me just get this correct. I believe that that is that David Brown had talked about the AGM. The ADA, this comes all the way from the America, of course, in terms of the people, the America's Disability Act, which comes all the way from America. But just to proceed with this, we do have the Disability Acts in different African countries. South Africa has its own ADA. It has some people who are covered with the ADM. We do have the American Disabilities Act cover. We do have also in Kenya, we do have the Persons with Disability Acts. And these acts, they came about, for example, in Kenya, it came about, it is Act 14 of the year 2003. So, of course, this speaks volume as to when it was starting, because before even this act was brought about, people with disabilities, they were denied a job entry. They were denied to interact with normal people. But of course, if you already know you get to do an offense towards individuals with the Disabilities Act, of course there are some penalties that you can get to go that can get, of course, to affect you. And of course, in Kenya, the Persons with Disabilities Act came about. It is an act of parliament that provides the rights and rehabilitation of people with disabilities to achieve equalization of opportunities for persons. That is in Kenya. And like I've told you, different, of course, countries, they do have the Disabilities Act. Of course, let's take a short musical break. And when we come back, we will still be focusing on the issue with the disability among ourselves, not only in Africa, but also in the diaspora as well. And of course, I'll get to read your views regarding that. And of course, to Mr. Pirate Brain, you said some people are very intelligent but have dyslexia. Of course, let me just get what dyslexia is. At some point, I haven't really been dwelling on this, but let me just get this correct. Of course, at Mr. David Brown, I understand that you have at some point dealt with individuals with that. And to the family, dyslexia occurs in children with normal vision and intelligence. And of course, the symptoms include late talking, learning new words slowly, and a delay in learning to read. That is when the parents now start slapping their children, thinking that they are dumb and dumber, not knowing that they could be having dyslexia in them. Thank you so much at Mr. Pirate Brain, because this is new to us. Some parents have really not taken that time to understand their children. Of course, most children with dyslexia, they can't succeed in school with tutoring or specialized education program. Of course, let's take a short musical break, and of course, when we'll be back, we'll get to wind up the show on some of the things that get to affect us. This is by the one and only Simi, and the title of the jam is Ayo. And of course, remember, you are tuning to Blackout Fire Network Media for the 21st century, and the topic is all about conquering disabilities in our environments. What is happening? Let's take, of course, a short musical break before we do come back to the show. All right, let me just get this for you correctly. All right, here we go. See me.
Everything when I touch, body's like anything I want. She not my child, she not what you. Now we get down. You did that, you know my day. You got better for me to buy them. The title of you. I know about you. Every day, showers of blessing. She know what you want, I'll be on time, oh yeah. Time beyond, oh, I got it. I be just talking for them. Prosperity sorting number one. I'm blessing calling, oh, I got it. I surely wanna go, oh, wherever we go. Into you and not the finish. I need to be here. Okay, you know where I am. I know my attention, oh, I like to be all out there. Oh, sit down. I'm such a video. I don't feel just the I'm happy to believe you. Show you, I'll be I need you. I every day. Showers of blessing. She not money when you want. I'll be up to the moon. Time me down. I don't want happiness talking money, prosperity talking money. I'm blessing money, I don't want money. I don't want money, Happiness looking for it. Prosperity something on it. I'm blessing calling. I don't want it. And this love is in me for
Welcome back to the Voices of the Motherland show only on Blackwood Fan Network. And of course, that Mr. Pirate Brain, I really appreciate the fact that you have shared with us some crucial information in regards to the topic that you did have for the amazing family today. And you say dyslexia is when you read but view the letters differently. Perhaps let me just share that video because we are almost coming, that is to the end of the show. We do have the African Today show coming right a few minutes from now. And remember, this is the Voices of the Motherland show by the one and only Kami. And of course, apologies from Rumizai because we do understand that there is an issue with the internet connectivity right now all the way from Zimbabwe. But of course, let's get to enjoy. Let's get, of course, to take a look at this video and how they really get to cope with dyslexia in Africa. Let's take a look at this. Of course, not only in Africa, but also you have interacted with these from the diaspora also.
That is the agony of a mother whose child has dyslexia. What is dyslexia? What causes it? What are the signs to look out for? And what kind of therapy is available for children with this condition? This is what we shall be talking about in a two-part series about dyslexia. To understand more about dyslexia, we shall talk to a dyslexia therapist as well as a parent of a child who has dyslexia. For Transworld Radio, I am Robert Uchim. Dyslexia is a learning difficulty that affects one's ability to read and write. A child with dyslexia finds it difficult to differentiate letters like B, P, and D, W and M, U and N, and F and T, since the brain cannot recognize the direction these letters should face. As a result, children with the condition read the word incorrectly or reverse the letters. Joseph Bango is an occupational therapist and often works with children with learning disabilities. He explains more.
The main challenge here is inability or difficulty in reading skills, but again can extend beyond that and affect other aspects of learning, which include spelling, pronunciation, writing, mathematics, and of course, writing skills.
Phyllis Karaoke is mother of Felix. She first realized her son Felix was different when he joined preschool.
Having that I had an earlier child who was very vibrant, very active, I thought having that he has a role model of some kind in the house, he would pick up. But he was totally different. When he went to pre-unit, that's when they started learning to read words. He had problems reading words. He actually could not read at all. While the other boy could read in pre-unit the very basic words, the three-letter words, the two-letter words, but him he could not. I thought it was just like I'm too anxious, I'm expecting too much, but I was now becoming hard on him.
Several reports by Felix teachers that he was performing poorly in reading and spelling worried Phyllis, and it began to take toll on her son's self-esteem.
I preached to him. Everybody at home was like, "Why are you not able to read? Why can't you be like so and so?" He hated anything to do with reading.
What about activities outside of the classroom?
He was very good. Anything that does not touch books. If you told him to do cleaning, tidy, do anything, he's good. But just mention like you've not done your homework, he would just like get tensed.
One day, Phyllis stumbled on an article about dyslexia in one of the local dailies, and that was her turning point.
I learned he had a problem. When he went on to class one now, I think the problem was like became bigger. The
Okay,
more
that is just, of course, that is just a snippet on, of course, the children with, I think dyslexia. Is it dyslexia? Dyslexia. Of course, it is a dyslexia. And of course, thank you so much, David Brent, for bringing that one up. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you are tuning to the Calming African Diary Show. And of course, this is all about some of the things that are affecting us. And for some parents, for some children, they've actually gotten some whooping because they wouldn't pronounce correct. And you as a parent, giving birth is one ceremony, and you taking your child to school and then proving that they are intelligent is something else. And this is when our parents now start becoming stressed. They start, maybe fathers, they start accusing their mom, oh, he or she's dumb like you, or he or she, now accusations start coming about in the family, which is not good. Take your time and get to understand your child. And of course, we are almost coming to the end of the show. And I would like to salute the one and only at Mr. Parrot Brain, at Keith and Newsome also. And also at David Brown, I really appreciate you guys taking the time. At Sean Scott, also, I really appreciate you taking your time and joining me here on the Voices of the Motherland Show. Remember, the issue was all about coping about with disabilities in our society. And of course, before we get to wind up the show, let's take a look at some of the solutions that you can get to deal with, such that you don't get beating your child to death or beating your relative to death just because you think that they are maybe pretending, or they just do not want to do these house chores and everything like that. One thing to prevent disability discrimination, because there has been a lot of discrimination in school. You're taking your child, maybe they are in the wheelchair, not even in the wheelchair, they just do have a disability, all the disabilities that I have named, and children do not want to play with them. They just are messing them up. You get to understand that you have to know when and what questions to ask them, because at some point you ask these children questions and they get to be emotionally unstable. They start breaking down. They do not want to go to school again because people do not want to understand them. Even for adults in campus, for example, where I was earlier on in campus, I did get to see people with disabilities in their wheelchair, and trust me, they were really, really working hard. They were really, really doing an amazing work, of course. And also, we do have a separate ADA policy in terms of people with disability. Another thing overcoming discrimination is that you need to get to review the policies with all employees. Stop looking down upon that employee who has a disability, because like I've told you, we human beings, if you wanted to clone ourselves, if you wanted to clone ourselves,
Can you hear
trust
me,
me.
Tammy?
Yes, I can hear you
Yeah.
at Kid High.
Okay. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
comment on your last. I wanted to comment on the last show. I couldn't get to you in time when you were talking about Ethiopia and Eritrea.
Yeah.
Eritrea,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess there's strife again in Ethiopia, and I wanted to make sure everybody understands these are Western hands behind this, because Ethiopia is building one of the biggest dams in Africa. And so what this would do, this would give unlimited power and really stable power to the country. So that means it will begin to have cheap manufacturing plants built in that country. That's always against European power. The Europeans have always um, made sure Africa was never going to be developed, be, kept underdeveloped, so it can maintain its hegemony, its power over African people. So also, people know, through history, hate to say it, the Eritreans were the traders. I'm funny. I love the way you showed your the refugee camp. Those are the Ethiopians. They never show them, Cammy. Those are the African Ethiopians. I never see them. I always see the mixed breed. When they show Ethiopia, they show the mixed breed Ethiopians. They don't show those African people. Every time they show Ethiopia, they show those mixed
Mm-hmm.
breeds. Those like mixed African Arab breed or white Arab breed, whatever. But they don't never show those. So understand that Ahmed Akbi, whatever his name is, he might not be at fault with this time. It's the West. They do not want him to build this dam,
Yeah.
okay? Because the dam will bring manufacturing into Africa. That's a no-no. Reason why Africa is always is being destabilized
Absolutely.
with wars is because the Europeans and the Asians want the resources without having to pay. It's not a what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a mistake that Africans sit on the richest piece of
Mm-hmm.
land and it affords people on the planet. That's not a mistake. That's on purpose. So like when I showed Spikes yesterday when me and Spikes doing the show, Smiley show, let them know that Spikes now knows without a doubt that the original Chinese are African. They were wiped out. Reason why the Asians are in Africa now, they want to wipe Africans out. The Europeans tried to wipe Africans out. They were unsuccessful. So now they're sending the Asians to wipe us
That
out.
is
These
true.
always got conflicts. Then we always have conflicts. It's like in the Cameroon, conflict in the Cameroon, constant conflict in the Congo.
Mm-hmm.
But if Africa was poor, if Africa didn't have anything, I bet there wouldn't be no conflict, Cam. Africa didn't have anything. I bet Africa would never have conflict. So
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say that African people, you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to
Eritrea
fight.
has a lot of resources.
Uh, go ahead.
That's
Go ahead. What'd you
a
say?
lot of oil, the gold. Mm-hmm.
Who has a lot of gold? Spike, Cammy?
And I'm just saying that Africans, we do have a lot of resources. For example, in Eritrea, I was checking them out. They do have an
Uh-oh. Is that me that froze or was that Cammy? I'm in a bad area. Was that me? Is that me that's freezing or is that Cammy? That may be me. Oh, that's Cammy. Oh, that was Cammy that dropped off. I thought that was me. Mm. Let me know whether you guys can hear me now. I'm sitting wait, see if Cammy can come back. All right, so Cammy's in. I thought it was on my end. All right, yeah, because I'm sitting over in a bad area, so I figured it was my end that was freezing. So sound like she's back. Let her finish the show up. Sound like she's back. Sound like Cammy's back.
Comments?
Okay. Sound like you're back. Yeah, I was just saying that Africans, we're gonna have to be vigilant. As brother, if you're down in South Africa, I got your email. I know you try to tell as many people as possible. South Africa don't take the vaccination. They're already coming with the Bill Gates vaccination. They pushing it here in America. Understand, African people globally. Hate to tell you, you're one people. They want to murder you off now as one people. They're going to start in South Africa, Kenya. They got Kim Yada talking about relocking down Kenya. Canada's being relocked down. America's going to be relocked down as soon as Kamala Harris and Joe Biden take office. America's going to be locked down. Found I might have to push back the Tanzania trip. I might have to put back the Tanzania. I don't know if Cam and Spike's be able to get out of the country. I think they're going to lock it back down. Kenya being a Commonwealth state. Go ahead, Cammy.
I think Magufuli is never going to be happy with that, considering that at times we have been, talking facts about him. But then again, I just want to say this, that this fight going on in Eritrea, it is about resources. And, it was making me feel so bad. Like, people are going through a lot of things out here. Like, for a moment, I'm like, let me just be grateful on the situation that I am in. Because I cannot imagine me waking up in the morning, not able to be, to do things at the comfort of my room, not being able to have the resources, my food, my everything, hygiene. And these people are just out there. There's no one who is even in terms of the humanitarian. There's no one who's out there, trying to ensure that they are safe. Because from the video, people are more focused on the soldiers. The politicians are more focused on giving the soldiers guns and ammunition, which is crazy.
Well, Cammy, we know how you love your food. We don't want you to go without your food.
Kid, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, I hear you. We know you love your food. We don't want you to go without your food. So, but I'm, I'm saying, like I said, they don't have money. We don't want you. They don't have money to feed most Ethiopian people. Where are the guns coming from, Cammy? Who's supplying the weaponry? Who's supplying the weaponry? Where are the guns coming from?
The Western.
Of course.
The Western. Earlier on, I had. Yeah, the Western. Earlier on, I had someone from of course, from Eritrea, and he was telling me that the Western media is sharing the wrong information, of course, to the public. I had someone from Amhara. I had someone from Amhara, and he was talking about how they're innocently being butchered. Some people have even witnessed, other human beings being butchered, which is crazy. Like, you're fighting for just a cause to make one man prominent, and you as the individual are not going to benefit that.
Yeah, did they say what is the conflict about, Cammy? What is the conflict about? What are they saying? What is the conflict about?
All right, they were saying about the issue with land. There was one thing about the issue with land that they were talking about. That is one thing that they were saying. And also the issue with the territory. The issue with the territory in terms of borders. The borders of the people, that is also one thing that they were fighting off. And also they were saying that the Eritreans were poking their noses, in terms of the war between the Ethiopians and the Tigray. And that is why they were now avenging the Eritreans, trying to calm them down. So it is the issue with the border of the land, the issue with Eritreans poking their noses where they were not supposed to be. I mean, how can you hate someone that much? But going back, I think from the year 1998 to 2000, and to 2000, we did have an issue whereby the Ethiopian Eritrean border issue was happening. And also the Amhara people have been affected for quite a long time. The Amhara, the Tigrinya people, and also the Oromo people have been affected by this because one community believes that it is better than the other. That is what they're fighting for.
Of course, there you go. Of course, the fake. Of course, you got the mixed breed fighting the real African there, and that's the wipe out the real African. And because Eritrea is a created country, that was all Ethiopia. Well, that was all Abyssinia. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't like to even call that Ethiopia, Cam, because as I was telling Spikes, Ethiopia was not just Sudan. I just learned that also it was Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
Uganda, Tanzania. That's all ancient Ethiopia. And I was
True.
wondering why did Abyssinia change its name to Ethiopia? I kept trying to, I said because they're trying to confuse these people for ancient Ethiopians when they are not. Ancient Ethiopians are Kenyans, Ugandans,
Mm-hmm.
Sudanese, the Kush Empire, Kushites. Kush Empire went all the way down to Kenya and further south, all the way down to Zimbabwe. So the Ethiopians were you, Tammy, but they want to make the Ethiopians like those non-black people up there in Ethiopia, those mixed breeds. So they're trying to
Exactly.
claim the history. I said they're trying to claim the history again. I see what they're trying to. Cause I understand why would Abyssinia change its
Mm-hmm.
name to Ethiopia? Why would they do that? I don't understand why. Because it's to steal that African history. They are not original Ethiopia. So when you go back in history, people will believe
Mm-hmm.
it's them, and it's not them. It's not them. But also, like I said, Eritrea, I can't pronounce that country right.
Eritrea.
Eritrea, Eritrea, whatever. Eritrea. I know I said it all wrong, but anyway, that country there, those were your traders, Abyssinians. They sided with the Europeans to take over Abyssinia.
Yeah.
They sided against the regular black population. That's why they cut the country up, and now they got Eritrea and Djibouti. Those were your traders. Those were the half breeds that were helping the Italians conquer Abyssinia. So it's always going to be, sadly enough, and like I said, it's mostly about that power, that dam. You better believe Westerners are in there, the CIA, the Mossad, especially the no good Mossad from Israel,
Yeah.
are bringing in guns and ammunition to kill African people to destabilize the country because they don't want Africa to ever become a free and viable manufacturing base. So
Absolutely. Because, all right.
I'm gonna see Cammy. Go ahead.
No, I just want to comment absolutely because I remember from the show, this one guy who had joined me at Rafael had said that different European countries are owning in terms of the gold mines, different leading companies in Eritrea, the types of countries from Canadian. They are of course enjoying all this, and the Africans themselves, the Eritreans themselves. If you had seen the video, you could see the situation they were in. You are out there, you do not have a shelter, you do not know where you're going to sleep, you do not know your next meal, you do not know where you're going to shower, you're bathing. It's crazy. But they're doing this because for a common cause. And of course, westernized media has highly messed up different African countries.
Exactly right. Liberia, they are mixed Italian. That was the half breeds that they put in there, and that those are ones they show in Ethiopia and Abyssinia now. They are Italian people. They were the
Yeah,
traders of African people. So exactly right. Yeah, and I agree. And I agree. Charlene, Cammy is looking mighty beautiful today. But
thank
like I
you.
said, Ruby's Eye will be back. Ruby's Eye will be back tomorrow. Her internet's acting up, so we'll make sure she's back tomorrow. I wanted to see both of them together. It's a good dichotomy having Ruby and Cammy do the show together. So we're
Yeah,
trying to
true
work out
that.
all the kinks. But 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 so it's sad that these African people, everywhere you go in Africa, when the white man wants
Mhm.
those resources, it's going to cause conflict and African people are going to be put on despair. Like one
Absolutely.
individual said, we don't got African leaders. This African said it. I'm glad he said it. African leader said, African guy said, you don't have leaders in Africa. You have puppets put in power by European people. This was a Nigerian brother said this. He said in Africa we don't have leaders, which is a fact. We have puppets put in power to maintain
Mhm.
white colonial interests.
Correct.
So we had to understand that because um, and so also let me make a comment before Cammy gets out of here. I wanted to say it doesn't make sense for also handicapped individuals in Kenya and anywhere in
Mhm.
Africa not to have the things they need. Black people, I'm sorry, a lot of us are gonna have to die. We're gonna have to fight. We can't live on the richest continent on the planet and stay in poverty. We can't. We can't live on the richest piece of land. And Cammy said, if a resource, no, because everybody's resources are depleted, but Mama Africa. Mama
Mhm.
Africa is the resource and the breadbasket of the world. Should nobody be starving in Africa? I'm glad the other brother Nigeria says you got 60% of the world arable land. So that means 60% of the world's land that grows food is in Africa. 60%. Only 40% is outside of the continent of Africa. So why should anybody be going hungry in Africa when you never did before the Europeans?
Mhm.
60% of arable land. And Cammy can look that up on Google if she wants to. She don't believe me. Look it up.
I believe
60%
you. I
of
believe
arable
you.
land is in Mama Africa.
Mhm.
So that means should nobody be starving in Africa at all. This should be nothing but an abundance before the European. It was no starvation. How can you starve in a place where everything grows? Oh, because you
Yeah,
got
everything was
European
in plenty.
policies and European puppets. Go, go ahead, Cam. What'd you say?
Yeah, I'm just saying that in regards to what you're saying, I agree with you that everything was in plenty in Africa. But right now, some of this stuff that were in plenty in terms of food, in terms of gold and all these natural resources, all these types of resources. Right now, they're being fought for a higher power. In that, even the Africans themselves do not get to benefit from that. For example, if you are in a compound and the government realizes that your compound has a taste of uranium in it, trust me, they will evacuate you. You're not going to get any a penny from that. It is for them and the black market. It's all about the black market and them benefiting.
What you're gonna be? We're gonna remain the victim until we understand we gotta unite as one people. We're gonna remain the victim of white power. White people understand without Africa they can't be rich. So I can't come and make a bunch of dollars. Me and Spike was talking about yesterday.
Mhm.
I come to you with a bunch of made up paper and buy real stuff. I'm buying real gold, real timber, real ivory, real platinum, real palladium, real everything. And I'm giving you worthless paper, right?
Yeah.
I'm giving you worthless paper for all your real resources. And like Spike was saying, how is it that the African currency is devalued is devalued 100 to 1,000 times less than the European, where everything comes out of Africa? How can that be? why
Doesn't
is the
really add up.
why is the Kenyan currency, Tammy? Uh, yeah, why is the Kenyan currency 100 times less than American dollar? Why is the Tanzanian currency 1,000 times less than American dollar? Why, when all the resources come out of Africa? so something ain't right. Something is fishy. How can, like we
Mhm.
showed yesterday, Cammy? I showed Spikes, right? We know
Mhm.
cocoa comes out of Africa, right? Cocoa, right?
Yeah, from
Chocolate
Ghana and
right?
so on.
Comes out of
Yeah.
Africa. Because of Africa. So why is it that the Europeans make the price of cocoa, of chocolate? There's no chocolate growing in Europe. And like I showed Spike,
Mm,
there's a whole town here in America called Hershey. At one time, this Hershey company was the biggest chocolate company in the world, right? Called Hershey
yeah.
USA. It's in Hershey, Pennsylvania, right? Spike's looked it up. How's it a Hershey city in America when there is no chocolate grown in America? all
And they
the
get to
chocolate
sell
is grown in
it.
all the chocolate is grown in Africa, Cam.
Absolutely.
So
And the children, for example, in Ghana, the children, we've had an issue whereby young children are being, are deployed to work on these cocoa farms. If you ask them, some of them have even never tested the original. We call it original cocoa. This
no,
chocolate, of course, goes to European countries. They repackage it. And one thing about Africans, we believe that something that is coming from Europe is so legit, it's so dope, it's the it thing. And that's why people go ahead and spend their money. We do have the likes of the Ferrero chocolates around here, the Cadbury chocolates around here, and they're being sold expensive.
is that so? Exactly right. So Cammy, so is there a Cadbury tree in Europe?
Absolutely no, there isn't either of that in Europe.
so, so you know, that's coming out of Mama Africa, right? So we know that that's coming out of Mama Africa. So
Hmm,
so why
absolutely.
so why so why so why is it so why is it not an African chocolate company? And we know
Hmm.
that chocolate comes out of Africa. How we got a Cadbury coming out of Switzerland or wherever the hell that shit comes from? People say, "Oh, Tammy,
Hmm.
I'm dating Cammy. I'm bringing you this Cadbury, beautiful. Here go my Cadbury chocolate." We say, "Oh my God, thank you." Not understand. Instead, it's supposed to come out of Mama Africa. It's supposed to have an African name. Supposed to have an African name, not Cadbury. So, like
Absolutely
I said,
correct.
with gold and everything else, it's supposed to have an African name. So we're getting a raw deal, young lady. One Cadbury bunny is in Europe. it, yes, I'm saying that. That's what I'm saying. It's all in Europe. Mr. Pie Brand, you got Hershey in America, Cadbury, these other things, Nestle
Hmm.
chocolate and Nestle cat that comes out of Europe, but they don't grow any damn cocoa that comes out of Africa. Just like the coffee in Kenya, and Ethiopia, and Rwanda, and Tanzania. That's the best coffee in the world, but it's not made in Kenya or Rwanda or Ethiopia. It's
Yeah.
gone to Europe. They refine it, and then they bring it back to Africa, and it costs 10 times as much.
Absolutely. Mr. Parrot Brain is saying that don't bunnies lay chocolate eggs. I think that is just the Mr.
Yeah,
Parrot
they
Brain.
lay they lay chocolate eggs because Spike's grandmama didn't lay down the law when she was out there fighting the Mzungu.
The
Spike
bunnies in
Spike
Spike's
Spike
family
Spike
lay
Spike
chocolate eggs.
Spike's Cammy, Spike's grandmama let the Mzungu get the coffee again.
We should have given them some headshots. But of course, we are of course coming to the end of the show because we do have the African Today show coming right in a bit. We are winding up, and of course, Akith, you are right. We know Africa, we are doing the hard work, and the Europeans, they are benefiting from the coffee, the chocolate, the tea, now selling it to us in high
What
grade.
well,
We
what's that
are out
called, Cammy? Cammy, what's
there.
that called? You know that's called a parasitical relationship. They are
Mhm.
parasites. So read what a parasite does. Europeans are parasites. Their
Mhm.
relationship with us is parasitical. That means
Mhm.
that's like a mosquito, right? A mosquito is a parasite. It lives off your blood.
Mhm.
When it sticks you, it drinks your blood. So that's what
Mhm.
Europeans do.
Absolutely
All right,
correct.
Cammy, you got it. Much love, family.
Thank you so much, Kit, for providing this platform. Of course, at Mr. Pirate Brain, at Mr. Pirate Brain, we really thank you for your sentiments. At Light Bearer, we really also appreciate you. Charlene Johnson, you have said, "Hey, girl, hi to you too, Charlene Johnson." Of course, we have come to the end of the show, and a much peace and love to everyone, and of course, to also. Just at David Brown, who did get to join us, really appreciate you. Have come to the end of the show of the Motherland Show, and at Keith Newsom, I really appreciate the fact that you did get to give us this platform, either to get to really dig a lot in terms of what is happening in Africa. It's time for us to stay woke. Much salute and love to everyone, and of course, we get to interact on the other show only on Black Hot Fire Network. Do have a lovely day, and my name is Kami, and this has been the Voices of the Motherland Show.